So, very good evening to everybody who's present here today. I am Alankrita from Fair Gaze, and I welcome all our esteemed speakers to this Fair Talk session on how to choose the right school for your child. I hope everyone is safe, taking precautions and inside their homes. So, would like everyone to know that we are live on Facebook from the Fair Gaze page and the Khaitan Public School, Sahibabad. I extend a warm good evening to the audience watching us from Facebook Live. If you want people in your family, friends, or work to watch the session, please do not forget to share the link. So moving on. To choose the right school for your child is quite an important decision. Some important groundwork is essential for a more firm and informed decision when you know that you're on the lookout for a quality school for your child. All children are unique in their own way. When it comes to learning, the majority of them have similar requirements, but the degree of each need varies from child to child. While some prefer to do self-learning, others are more inclined to group activities or a mix of both. How the child picks up and retains information needs to be closely observed by parents in order to understand which school would be the right one for the child. So it is an important phase that parents go through, and today this discussion will bring up more such similar perspectives from our eminent educationists and professionals gathered today. So having said that, I would like to introduce the panelists for today. Dr. Madhumati Singh, PhD, child psychologist and director of Fair Gaze. Ma'am will also be the moderator of the session today. I heartily welcome you, Dr. Madhumati. Pleased to have you here.
Thanks, Alankrita. Hi, guys.
Ms. Akriti Hussain, psychologist and therapist, SFBT, Delhi, India, external faculty, Cardiff University, UK, Delhi Mental Health Council member, WICCI. I heartily welcome you, ma'am. Happy to have you aboard.
Thank you, Alankrita. Hi, everyone.
Ms. Mamta Kapoor, Director, Teaching and Learning, Khaitan Public School. I extend a warm welcome to you, ma'am. Happy to have you here today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Hello, everyone.
Aprajita Gautam, President, Delhi Parents Association. I heartily welcome you, Aprajita ma'am, to this deliberation. Pleased to have you on the Fair Gaze platform.
Thank you, Alankrita, and good evening all, and thank you for inviting us.
So before we move on to the discussion today, I want to highlight that Fair Gaze conducted a small research related to the discussion, and the samples were from the school ecosystem connected to us. So I would like to read out for everyone the results of the same. In the recent survey conducted by Fair Gaze on exploring the ideal school in lockdown, over 77% of the respondents rated holistic development and quality of teachers as the most important parameter of good school. And around 83% of respondents wanted schools to adopt a holistic development approach along with the updated curriculum. Surprisingly, over 57% respondents preferred a regular school over online and other schoolings, and around 83% considered conscious parenting very important. And overwhelmingly, 91% of respondents consider curricular activities important, and over 81% rated the Indian value system as important for children. Interestingly, over 88% of respondents take their child's opinion into consideration, and only 80% feel that they impose their expectations on their child. However, over 90% of respondents encouraged their child to speak their mind even if they disagree. These were the results, and with that, may I please request Dr. Madhumati to take over the session. Ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Alankrita. One more time, a big good evening on a nice Sunday evening. I don't know if it's raining there or not, but I'm in my hometown and it's pouring here in Agra. And what a panel we have. It's going to be a downpour of a lot of ideas and thoughts here on Fair Gaze platform, the biggest portal for K-12 community. And we've been doing great jobs, including having a lot of competitions, a lot of mentoring, a lot of guidance for the K-12 community. And what better time now that we're looking at pandemic wave 3, threshold of wave 3, and we're looking at Are we having schools to reopen? Which school is good for admission? Which is right for my family? And it's the right, absolutely right evening. And we have a lovely panelist here. We have Akriti as Aprajita, as Alankrita has introduced all of us. So one more time, I think it's a great evening to at least sum up in our minds as caregivers, as educationists, as parents, as even children. I'm sure the youngsters who will join us here live on Facebook. We are here for another hour. The whole idea being, what does it take to choose the right school for our child? And are we looking at wave three, and we're looking at being realistic about choosing school?
Ma'am, sorry to cut you. You're on mute.
Since when have I been on mute? For a long time?
No.
Just a few seconds. Okay, thank you. I think my phone. So coming back to, I think let's begin with the Akriti. Akriti, the whole let's start. The warming up begins from you. And as Alankrita was mentioning very clearly in our survey that we had, as per our survey, 42% parents look for schools which gives a holistic development, social and emotional learning. So Akriti, please enlighten us with your PPT and your ideas of this particular point.
Yes, just give me a moment. I'll just put my PPT on. Okay, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I think in order to understand how to choose the right school, the first and foremost important thing is to understand the core needs of children for healthy development. Ask yourself questions like, what do I hope to achieve from this school? What does my child hope to achieve from a school that he or she will be spending approximately 14 years of their lives in? So start with questioning yourself and ask yourself that question. Once you have your purpose and your needs of the child in place, that's the time to start really looking for the right school. So when we're talking about needs, I would like you, sorry, I'm trying to change the slide. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to begin by talking about children's needs. So Maslow was a very famous American psychologist who was known for his hierarchy of needs. According to his theory, each need needs to be fulfilled starting from the bottom level and then moving on to the level just above and so on and so forth. And his theory also states that it's these needs that eventually dictate a person's behavior. So I'm going to quickly run through these needs and then go on to relating them to the importance of choosing the right school. So here we start with the physiological needs, which includes food, shelter, good health, clothes, etc. Then we move on to the safety needs. Now, safety needs does not just mean physical safety. It means the emotional well-being and stability for a child. The child needs to feel emotionally connected. He or she needs to feel emotionally safe. That's very important. And then we move on to the social needs, which is the last of the so-called lower needs. However, they're not lower, I would call them the base needs, because these are the needs, if they are fulfilled well, it has a direct impact on the higher needs like self-esteem and self-actualization. So social needs, of course, as it suggests, comes from the interactions these children have, from family bonds, bonds with caretakers, their bonds with peer groups and teachers. It's the people they interact with every day, how enriching those interactions are for them. And then we move on. Once these three are fulfilled, then, so you can see how important the emotional and social needs are. If those are fulfilled well, it becomes a foundation for children to become good learners, to become creative, ready to explore more, and even impacts their behavior. Then we move on to the growth needs, which are self-esteem and self-actualization. So self-esteem refers to self-respect and confidence in one's own potential and achievements. And for children, of course, this comes from the outside while they are young. So, the people who interact with them daily, teachers, peer groups, family, whoever, how loved they make them feel, how accepted, and you know, a sense of achievement. It's that sense of belongingness that these children feel by being part of these different groups in their lives. And the last but not the least is the self-actualization, which then comes, this brings in education, it brings in skill development in the area of music, dance, art, sports. It also includes the higher order thinking, experiences that you gather from travel, learning a new language, winning some awards. So to sum up the importance of understanding the child's needs, I'd just like to say that, you know, as I said before, a child spends 14 years of their lives in school. So the school really needs to understand what really is important for a child. I mean, any school can advertise a great curriculum and a diverse set of skill development sets, but do the teachers and the faculty across all levels, do they understand how to teach all of that in an emotionally safe way for the child? Because if that's not fulfilled, it could lead to emotional regulation, not being able to learn very well, disruptive patterns of behavior. So the first three needs are rock solid important for anybody to understand. Another really important aspect to consider is individual differences in children. I mean, every child is genetically different. Every child has, you know, different exposure to environments. So, and all these individual differences really impact all the areas I've mentioned on the slide. It has an impact. I mean, for example, some children need more attention and affection. Some children do not like to be singled out, even if it's for praise. Some children are very emotionally independent and some need a little extra support. So to understand, for the school, number one, to understand that children come with individual differences and one size does not fit all. And for parents to understand their own children so that they can find the right school for them becomes of utmost importance. And there are many ways. One of the most obvious one is to spend time, quality time with your child, to understand your child. Ask the right questions. The internet is full of some good articles and guides on how to get to know your child better. And if there are still some unanswered questions, there's always professional help available. The idea is to get to know your child, start from that starting point before you go ahead and look for schools. So this is just a quick thing into, so once you understood the needs, the individual differences, you gather information about schools based on those, and you look at their vision, their approach to teaching. If possible, you visit the school, get a feel of the culture, of the kind of people who are there. You evaluate these options and then choose the right fit. So just to summarize, I think making a child emotionally and socially feel safe and feel like they belong is the most important thing. So just to bring it all together, I'd like to show you all a short clip about what is important for a child, and best to hear what a child needs from a child itself. So here goes.
I'm sorry, but I can't hear the sound. I think from the start.
Ms. Akriti, can you reshare your screen?
Miss Akriti, you there?
Sorry, I was told that the sound is not coming. I've just received some help from the IT department, so I will play this again.
Our healthy development depends on these top 5 things. 1, connecting. 2, talking. 3, playing. 4, a healthy home. 5, community. All of this helps our brains and us reach our full potential. So what's something you can do that can really make a difference? Scientists call it serve and return. That's just a grown-up way of saying connect, talk, and play with us. And here's the really big news. Amajot, Ari, you ready?
Ready?
Copycat games build imagination and empathy.
And
Naming games build vocabulary and attention.
Daddy. Ari. Daddy.
And games like Peekaboo, yep, Peekaboo, actually build memory and trust. Each time you talk to us, play with us, make us laugh, it not only builds and strengthens our relationships and mental health, it actually teaches us some of the most important life skills. From making friends, to taking a test, to getting a job, to one day maybe even starting a family of our own. Interactions early and often matter. Take it from me, the 7-year-old up here, talking about brain science. Okay, now, let's see what happens when the connection is taken away. So now he's trying to get his dad's attention again. He's reaching out like, that was fun, why have you stopped? I know it's important for adults to use their devices sometimes, but kids are hardwired to seek out meaningful connections. Not receiving them causes confusion and stress. Okay, Amajot, please re-engage. Now, what if a whole childhood was like that last 30 seconds? How hard it would be for a child to feel calm, to feel safe, to learn to trust anyone, and the lifelong impact that would have. That makes me feel sad. Ari only reacted the way he did and recovered so quickly because the connection between him and his dad is usually so strong. The positive relationships with the grown-ups in our lives gives kids the confidence we need to try new things, to explore, and be a kid.
That was all from me. Madhumita ji, you can
Yeah.
take over.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Akriti. It was informative, refreshing. We did refresh on the Maslow needs, hierarchy, and basically the idea being that know your child. Most importantly, each child is individual, is an individual, is unique, and it's very important to cater to each child in a unique, special way. So yes, Akriti, that goes very well down for the audience, for our mentors, our teachers, parents, and even kids who are maybe watching us. Continuing with our panel discussion, as we can see that in our survey that we did, and I think Alankrita did mention that very clearly, I'm again repeating it, is that as per our survey, 57% parents with regular school, or who want regular school, and 30% hybrid learning. So hybrid learning is a combination of online and offline. Frankly, that's what I voted too. You know, I'm a very active on Twitter, and long time back last year, I said 3 days online, 3 days offline. So yes, good 30% of the parents want the hybrid learning. So yes, Mamta, this question is for you, and which is, please elaborate what components go into making a good school or the right school. And good, for example, as per your talk, good teachers, updated curriculum, and so on. So could you please throw some light on that, Mamta? Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Singh. So I think I'm hearing two parts to this question. One is that what is it that we need to keep in mind when we are choosing the right school? And the other part to the question is about hybrid learning, right? So I'm going to take the first one first, and just allow me to share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Is it visible?
Yes.
Can somebody just, yeah, thank you
Yes.
so much. Right, so I'm just going to talk about choosing the right school. I'm sorry, there are two PowerPoints coming back to back, so it should not be treated as death by PowerPoint. It's just that we want to engage. They're all different kinds of people, and some of them just want some visual stimulation as well. So if you see, I have highlighted this word right in bold, and there's a reason behind it, because we're not saying choosing a good school. We're saying choosing the right school, because there is no good school or bad school, right? And even if there is, I don't think so anybody can make those judgments and compartmentalize it, right? So when a school might be the best school in town, city, NCR, but it may not be the right school for you and your child. And how you choose a school is, it should be a match between your aspirations for your child and your expectations from the school. So the first thing to remember is that a school is your choice that you make on behalf of your child. And you need to make sure that these two have to match, right? I categorize this process into 3 buckets, right? That it's before visiting the school, during visiting the school, and after visiting the school. What is it that you need to keep in mind before you make that choice? So Akriti did mention earlier how important it is to go visit a school. I'm just going to give you some nuggets. What are the things you need to keep in mind before you visit the school? So before visit the school, please do your homework. Sit down with your child. As adults, as parents, sit down, put down your expectations. What do you want from this school? Make a list of schools that you think are a very good match to your aspiration and expectations. Once you've done that, take it a little step further. Visit the school website, look at the vision, mission, look at their purpose statement, look at what programs do they offer, read their key policies as well. Guys, there's a lot we can do nowadays to know about the school, even actually visiting the school. You have the website, and all schools put their best foot forward, on the website. So just the website alone is not something that's going to guide you. This is just your pre-reading. This is before you visit the school. You have some ideas, and okay, this is a school which I think is going to meet our expectations as parents and fulfill my child's aspirations as well. Once you've done that and you've narrowed down the school and you're like, okay, now I'm ready. I want to visit this school. I'm going to actually go to this school, right? So what do you keep in mind during visiting this school? You are now going to look for the actual evidence of whatever the school is talking about on the website. So if the school says we offer social emotional learning, we do this, we do that, you need to look for it. How does the school celebrate learning? Okay, and it starts from as soon as you enter the school reception. What is it that the school is celebrating at the school reception? Is it the child's work, or is it a very neat and clean, swanky reception, which looks like a hotel lobby? I am not here to say anything, whether that's right, wrong, good, bad. It's about you making the right choice. Be mindful of these things. That how does the school celebrate learning? Safety. While you are walking through the corridors in the school, somebody is taking you around the school, look for signs, look for signals. What has the school done to make sure that the school is a safe place for your child? Okay. And when I talk about safety, I'm not just talking about CCTV camera. That's very important. That's physical safety. I am also talking about mental safety, and something that Akriti did mention earlier, and I'm not going to talk about it, right? You need to look for evidence for that. How do you find evidence whether the school is actually doing social emotional learning or not? Look out for work around the school. If the school is engaging with social emotional learning, you will see evidence of this in the form of child's work being displayed somewhere, right? If you can't see, ask questions. Whoever is taking you around, and if you get to meet someone, which I'm sure you do, ask about the social emotional curriculum. Ask about, does the school have a bespoke program? Are the teachers trained in doing that? So you need to make sure, don't just look at the website, don't just look at the brochure, don't just look at what the school says, look for evidence. Parent involvement. Find out, how is the school engaging its parent community? Does the school conduct workshops for parents? Does the school involve the parent in strategic decision-making? Because I think there are three key stakeholders when we talk about a school. It's the teacher, it's the child, and it's the parent. And they all have to be in synergy. So if a school is a school that is really, really in favor of encouraging parents to be a part of their decision-making process, I think perhaps that's the school that you want for your child. You don't want to be a parent who's kept on the fringe and is only asked, or maybe only told, not asked. So these are the kind of things you need to ask yourself. Do you want to be in a school that just tells you, or do you want to be in a school that asks you, that involves you, that collaborates with you? So ask these questions, look for these evidences. Teacher development. I remember Dr. Singh saying earlier that I think some 34% of the parent in the survey said that you choose a school based on faculty, which is very, very important. Teachers are the most important component of a school. So ask questions. What is the teacher training program for the school? How much time does the school allocate to teacher training? Are there teacher training days that the school thinks about? Because if the teachers are not empowered and enabled, I don't think so that the children will be able to do what we expect them to do and what you aspire them to do. So that is something else that you need to look for in a school. Once you've done that, you've read about the school, you've been to the school, you've looked for all these things, what is it that you do after that? You don't just sign up on the dotted line. My very humble suggestion is give yourself time. Think about it. Your child is very, very special. And the school that you choose for your child should be that extra special as well. It's a big decision. It's one of the most difficult, one of the most challenging decisions that you will be taking on behalf of your child. It better be the right one. So I think that's what I would like to share with all of you when you are considering the school for your child. I hope you find it helpful. Over to you, Dr. Singh.
Thank you. Thank you, Mamta. Yes, very, very enlightening in a way. It seemed like a nice movie. Beautiful PPT you had presented. The points are very well pointed out. The crux of what you said is, don't just go on hearsay. Don't go just on what the brochure speaks about. Collect evidence. Go in person. Make a visit to the school.
Yes.
Involve the children in the decision making. Perfect. Very nice. Excellent points. And like Mamta also said very beautifully, we have three stakeholders in the K-12 community. In any education, is the kid in the center. On the right is the parents. On the left are the teachers. So right being the parents. Today in our panelists, we also have Aprajita Gautam. She is the president of Delhi Parents Association, and she's with us on Fair Gaze Forum. And of course, we need to have a very clear perspective from parents' point of view. Aprajita, so over to you, please. How would the parents get involved, and what is their input in terms of picking up the right school?
Thank you, Madhumati ji. See, आकृति ने और ममता मैम ने बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स ऑलरेडी इसमें डिस्कस कर दिए हैं, सो देयर इज नो यूज ऑफ रिपीटिंग ऑल दोज पॉइंट्स. और बहुत अच्छी चीजें मतलब बीइंग जो आकृति जी ने बताया, ममता जी ने बताया, बहुत सारे उन्होंने अच्छी चीजें बता दी. बीइंग अ पेरेंट उनको क्या देखना चाहिए और कैसे करना चाहिए. अब मैं आप लोगों के साथ है ना कुछ प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट्स शेयर करना चाहूंगी. लाइक ममता मैम सेड कि जब भी आप स्कूल में जाएं और आप ये सारा चीज चेक कीजिए, बट प्रैक्टिकल में ये क्या होता है, अगर हम एविडेंस की बात करें, हम बच्चों की सेफ्टी की बात करें, इन सब चीजों की बात करें, वेदर इट इज रिलेटेड टू सेफ्टी, टीचर्स क्वालिफिकेशन या स्कूल का जो भी करिकुलम आप अडॉप्ट करते हैं, स्कूल की वेबसाइट में अगर आप देखेंगे, सिर्फ जो जैसे ऑलरेडी मेंशन कर चुके, बहुत ज्यादा एग्जैजरेट करके उसमें वेबसाइट में शो किया होता है. तभी हम बात करें फिजिकली जाइए और एविडेंस कीजिए. बीइंग अ पेरेंट ऑल्सो और बीइंग द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ पेरेंट एसोसिएशन, हमें ऐसा लगता है कि अगर स्कूल की वेबसाइट में अगर हम सेफ्टी से रिलेटेड एविडेंसेस और स्कूल की टीचर्स अगर हैं, उनकी क्वालिफिकेशन भी अगर हम लोग अपलोड करते हैं, अलॉन्ग विद दी जो हम बच्चों की एक्टिविटीज के प्रूफ की हम बात कर रहे हैं, जो स्कूल में आपके पिक्चर्स आप देख रहे हैं, ये सारी अगर हम छोटी छोटी क्लिपिंग्स के साथ हम वेबसाइट में पोस्टिंग करते हैं, वो बहुत अच्छी चीज होती है. ये जो सारी चीजें मैं आपको बता रही हूँ कि हम प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट्स बता रहे हैं. यू कैन ओपन एनी स्कूल वेबसाइट, वो बहुत अच्छी सारी बातें करेंगे, विजन अच्छा दिखाएंगे, मिशन अच्छा दिखाएंगे. मैं वापस जाती हूँ, जो ममता जी ने बोला था, विजिट कीजिए, प्रोग्राम क्या ऑफर कर रहे हैं वो देखिए, और आप विजन क्या है, उनका मिशन क्या है, स्कूल की पॉलिसी क्या है. इफ यू आस्क मी, प्रैक्टिकली बात करें तो सबका कॉपी पेस्ट होता है, क्योंकि जो भी वेबसाइट डिजाइनर होते हैं उनके थ्रू बनाया जाता है, बहुत अच्छी अच्छी बातें की जाती हैं. प्रैक्टिकल एस्पेक्ट्स में ये गायब मिलते हैं. ठीक है, तो अब क्या करना चाहिए पेरेंट को? यस, मैं बहुत कम शब्दों में अपनी बात ये रखना चाहूंगी. जैसे हम बात कर रहे थे, यहाँ पर ज्यादातर पेरेंट्स ने होलिस्टिक अप्रोच किया है. चूज क्यों किया है, उसके पीछे ये है कि करिकुलम एक्टिविटीज के अलावा को करिकुलम एक्टिविटीज भी जरूरी होता है. कॉम्बिनेशन हमारा होलिस्टिक अप्रोच बनता है. अब यहाँ देखना है कि करिकुलम कैसा है. अब करिकुलम को करवाने के लिए यू शुड हैव गुड टीचर्स. अब मैं आपके डेटा को देख के मैं हैरान हो गई, क्योंकि ये हम भी मानते हैं, मतलब हमारे पास जब बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स अप्रोच करते हैं, तब ये भी पूछते हैं कि आप स्कूल में क्या चाहते हो. आप शोशा ज्यादा चाहते हो, यू रियली विश कि आपके बच्चे की पढ़ाई अच्छी हो, तो वहां पेरेंट एक मिनट के लिए कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं. ट्रस्ट मी, वहां बच्चे के पेरेंट्स का फिर आता है कि नहीं, हम ये चाहते हैं कि बच्चे का जो एजुकेशन है, वो पढ़ाई जो बेस है, जो आपके बच्चे का एजुकेशन का जो बेस है, वो स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए. तो यहाँ पर मैं इसलिए मेंशन करना चाह रही हूँ कि यहाँ पर करिकुलम के लिए टीचर होती हैं. टीचर की क्या क्वालिफिकेशन है, अगर स्कूल अपनी वेबसाइट में अपलोड कर देता है, क्योंकि किसी भी पेरेंट के लिए जब वो स्कूल विजिट कर रहा होता है, स्कूल से ये डिमांड करना कि मुझे आप टीचर्स के एजुकेशन की क्वालिफिकेशन के प्रूफ दिखाइए, डजंट लुक नाइस, और प्रैक्टिकली ये पॉसिबल भी नहीं होगा. दूसरा मैं इसमें लेके जाऊंगी, पेरेंट्स को और क्या चेक करना चाहिए, साथ साथ पेरेंट्स को बोर्ड चेक करना चाहिए कि कौन से वो बोर्ड में अपने बच्चे का, कौन से स्कूल के साथ जिसके साथ भी करवाना चाह रहे हैं, कौन सा उनका बोर्ड आना चाहिए. क्योंकि अभी आप लोगों ने, अभी पैंडेमिक में हमने बहुत सारी चीजें देखी हैं. स्टेट बोर्ड के साथ अफिलिएट हो स्कूल, सीबीएसई बोर्ड के साथ हो, इंटरनेशनल बोर्ड हो, कैम्ब्रिज बोर्ड हो, कौन सा बोर्ड पेरेंट खुद चाहता है. क्योंकि हम जानते हैं सीबीएसई का एक अपना पैटर्न है, तो जिसमें अगर हम ये बोलें कि आप अपडेटेड करिकुलम आप करवाएं, सीबीएसई अपने पैटर्न के हिसाब से करता है. सीबीएसई के सभी स्कूल में एक जैसे ही आपको एजुकेशन का वो मिलेगा. दूसरा मैं कहूंगी कि यस, क्वालिटी ऑफ टीचर देखने के लिए अगर मुझे टीचर्स का थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन मिलता है वेबसाइट पर, स्कूल की वेबसाइट में, इट इज ऑल्सो मैंडेटरी. मैं आपको बता देती हूँ, ऑलरेडी पुरानी कई सारी जजमेंट्स आ चुके हैं, उसमें भी है कि टीचर्स की इंफॉर्मेशन भी वेबसाइट में डालिए. प्लस एक जो बात ममता जी ने भी कही, टू सी हाउ इंटरेक्टिव स्कूल इज विद द पेरेंट्स, बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. 99.99% स्कूल्स में पेरेंट्स टीचर एसोसिएशन जो होता है उसकी डिटेल ही मिसिंग होती है, कोई भी शेयर नहीं करना चाहता। इंटरेक्टिव की बात करें तो स्कूल ना सिर्फ टीचर, मैं तो यहाँ पे कहूंगी कि प्रिंसिपल्स भी कितनी इजीली अप्रोचेबल है यहाँ पर, क्योंकि आप देखिए कोई भी स्कूल टीचर तो चलाते हैं बट उनकी हेडिंग प्रिंसिपल करते हैं, मैनेजमेंट करते हैं। पेरेंट के लिए बहुत जरूरी है, आज इस पैंडेमिक में तो और भी ज्यादा पेरेंट्स फील कर रहे हैं कि प्रिंसिपल जब नॉर्मल जब ऑफलाइन स्कूल चल रहे थे तब भी प्रिंसिपल अप्रोचेबल नहीं थी। तो ये जो चीजें हैं जो मिसिंग है, जो पेरेंट्स चाहता है और जहां पर उनको लगता है कि यस ये स्कूल में इंटरेक्शन होता है, टीचर्स पेरेंट्स की सुनते हैं, स्कूल सुनता है, बच्चों के ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट पे ध्यान दिया जाता है, तो ऑब्वियसली पेरेंट्स उस स्कूल को प्रेफर करते हैं। एक चीज मैं आप लोगों के डेटा को देख के मैं हैरान हुई हूँ, आप खुद देखिए आपका डेटा 6.5% टीचर और स्टूडेंट्स रेशो की बात कर रहा है। यहाँ मैं आकृति जी की बात को लूंगी जिसमें उन्होंने कहा था कि सभी बच्चों को हम एक साथ नहीं कर सकते, किसी को इमोशनल सपोर्ट की जरूरत होती है, किसी को मेंटल सपोर्ट की जरूरत होती है, किसी को फिजिकल। तो बच्चे, हर किसी बच्चे का अपना एक अलग वो रहता है, इसीलिए पेरेंट्स को ये वाली बात भी देखनी चाहिए कि टीचर और स्टूडेंट्स का रेशो क्या है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे स्कूल्स में हमने प्रैक्टिकली देखा है 70-80 का रेशो रहता है। मैं यहाँ पे मेंशन प्राइवेट स्कूल्स नहीं कर रही क्योंकि प्राइवेट स्कूल दे ऑलवेज ट्राई टू मेंटेन द रेशो जो 40-45 पे जाता है, बट अगर हम जितना रेशो कम रखते हैं, टीचर का उन अपने बच्चों के साथ, अपने स्टूडेंट्स के साथ जो इंटरेक्शन और अटैचमेंट और बॉन्डिंग वो और भी ज्यादा इजी हो जाती है और बच्चे के डेवलपमेंट के लिए वो और भी ज्यादा अच्छा रहता है। मीन्स इसमें सीधा बोले तो आउटपुट अच्छा आता है। एक चीज और है, यस जो पेरेंट्स की तरफ से गलती है, मैंने आपके पूरे सर्वे को भी देखा है, पेरेंट्स क्या करते हैं क्वालिटी एजुकेशन को क्वांटिटी या मैं बोलूंगी नंबर ऑफ फैसिलिटीज से काउंट करते हैं। क्वालिटी एजुकेशन क्योंकि हमें टीचर्स का नहीं पता क्या आ रहा है, क्या डिटेल्स है उनकी, वो नंबर ऑफ फैसिलिटीज से काउंट करते हैं कि यस स्कूल में स्विमिंग पूल है, या स्कूल में एक्टिविटी की क्लास का रूम है, कंप्यूटर रूम है, आईसीटी का रूम है, लैब्स बनी हुई है। वो क्वालिटी एजुकेशन को ये नहीं देख पाते हैं क्योंकि स्कूल की तरफ से या मैं बोलूंगी वेबसाइट में डिस्क्राइब नहीं होता। आप कैसे क्वालिटी बताएंगे, यही बताएंगे क्या अचीवमेंट रहा है रेशो का। मैं एग्जांपल देती हूँ, एक्स हमारी कोई टीचर है, अगर आप उसमें ये कहते हैं कि 10 साल से हमारे साथ हैं और इनका जो अचीवमेंट रेशो है, जो बच्चों का मैं बोलूंगी पासिंग वाला, टीचर का भी होना चाहिए, नॉट ओनली स्टूडेंट्स, टीचर के उसमें कितने बच्चे पास हुए, अगर 100 आज तक पढ़ाए हैं तो 99%, 98% टीचर का ये रिजल्ट रहा है। तो आई थिंक दैट वाज द इजियर फॉर द पेरेंट्स कि स्कूल की वेबसाइट में जाकर स्टडी करना, उसके बाद यस फिजिकली स्कूल में जाके जैसे ममता मैम ने बोला वहां जाकर उसको एविडेंसेस से देखना कि वेदर जो क्लेम कर रहे हैं वेबसाइट में वेदर दैट इज ट्रू और नॉट। लास्ट में एक चीज और है, क्योंकि हम बात करें यहाँ पे बेस से बच्चों की यानी कि नर्सरी से, यस जो पेरेंट के लिए एक चीज और मेन होती है जो पेरेंट्स को नहीं पता होता, दे नीड टू चेक वेदर दैट स्कूल इज रिकॉग्नाइज्ड और नॉट, क्योंकि बहुत सारे ऐसे स्कूल हैं जो अनरिकॉग्नाइज्ड चल रहे हैं। पेरेंट्स आफ्टर सम टाइम जब उनको जैसे जैसे उनकी क्लासेस बढ़ती हैं, जब लेटर ऑन उनको कभी अचानक से पता चलता है उनका स्कूल अनरिकॉग्नाइज्ड है। एंड हमारा एक्सपीरियंस है मोस्टली जो स्कूल्स हैं, खासकर इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट द नर्सरी एंड केजी, प्राइवेट स्कूल्स ने जो अपने नर्सरी केजी स्कूल्स भी ओपन किए हुए हैं, मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर अनरिकॉग्नाइज्ड। तो पेरेंट्स के लिए ये रिकॉग्निशन चेक करना और ये सारी चीजें चेक करना भी हमारे हिसाब से जरूरी होता है, नहीं तो बाद में पेरेंट्स को इन सब चीजों को लेके जब साइड इफेक्ट में हम बोलेंगे, जब उनको बाद में पता चलता है स्कूल अनरिकॉग्नाइज है, एजुकेशन वो एज पर दी वो नहीं है जो वो लोग क्लेम कर रहे थे, बाद में उनको फिर लॉस होता है। एंड लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट, यस पेरेंट्स को फीस स्ट्रक्चर जरूर देखना चाहिए कि वेदर स्कूल इज शेयरिंग द एंटायर फीस स्ट्रक्चर और नॉट, क्या उनके उसमें है, और ऑब्वियसली अपनी पॉकेट के हिसाब से, क्योंकि ये मान के चले जैसे जैसे फीस बढ़ता है उसके हिसाब से वो फोकस करें। मतलब पेरेंट्स को अपने बजट के हिसाब से स्कूल देखना चाहिए, जो मुझे पता है मोस्टली पेरेंट्स देखते हैं ऐसा नहीं है कि अपने बजट से ऊपर देखते हैं, बट यही है कि एक पेरेंट्स तो बहुत कुछ चाहता है स्कूल से, स्कूल भी बहुत कुछ चाहते हैं, और लास्ट में हम लोगों का हमारा प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस ये है कि स्कूल और पेरेंट्स के बीच में जो कनेक्शन होना चाहिए, जैसे ममता मैम ने बोला, और मैं हमेशा इस बात को कहती थी, मैं आई एम ग्लैड उन्होंने इस बात को बोला कि इट्स अ बेसिकली ट्राइंगल है, पेरेंट है, स्टूडेंट है, टीचर है, वो पूरा नहीं होता। बट प्रॉब्लम क्या आती है प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ में, स्कूल की कनेक्टिविटी बच्चे से तो हो जाती है, पेरेंट्स से नहीं रखते, पेरेंट्स की स्कूल से नहीं हो पाती, तो बच्चा हमारे पास एक जरिया रहता है कि उस स्कूल के साथ इंटरेक्ट करने का। तो हमें ऐसा लगता है टू स्टार्ट दी रिलेशनशिप, गुड रिलेशनशिप, मैं एक रिलेशनशिप बिल्डिंग की बात करूं, तो अगर हम इस ट्रायंगल को पूरा करते हैं तो डेफिनेटली हम सभी की विन विन सिचुएशन रहेगी, वेदर इट इज स्कूल और पेरेंट्स और द स्टूडेंट्स, एवरीबॉडी विल बी हैप्पी, क्योंकि छोटे छोटे मिसिंग पॉइंट्स है, जस्ट हमने उन डॉट्स को आपस में जोड़ना है। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Prajita. Very well summed up in the sense, almost like the third dot. हम कहते हैं ना, 2 dots को आपने तीसरा डॉट बना के एक ट्रायंगल बड़ा सही सटीक तरीके से आपने वो बातें सारी ऐड कर दी। बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंटली आपने बोला कि आप चौकस रहें, आप सारी जो इंफॉर्मेशन है वो डबल चेक करें, उनकी फीस स्ट्रक्चर देखें, whether it is a recognized school or not. एक तब जब आप बात कर रहे थे, हमने कहा एक और बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, इज द पेरेंट कम्युनिटी। हम लोगों का इतना एक व्हाट्सएप और ये टेक्नोलॉजी इतनी ज्यादा वाइब्रेंट है कि जो हमारे बच्चे जो प्ले स्कूल में थे, प्ले स्कूल के जो पेरेंट्स हैं वही एक कम्युनिटी है। सो बी इन्फॉर्म्ड। बेसिकली व्हाट Aprajita and Mamta and Akriti have said beautifully well is that mindfulness is what Akriti said very importantly. Mindful. Do not do things in a haste. Don't follow what others are doing. Be mindful, collect all possible information, and then putting your child in perspective as an individual, a unique individual, pick a school of your choice. So as we are heading towards the last part of our interaction today, our panel discussion, I'm sure more and more viewers would be there. If we have some questions, we will be getting them in a couple of minutes. But just before that, I thought there are 2 pertinent questions which I thought each one of the panelists can speak one liner. हम कहते हैं ना, एक थॉट आया जो हम कहते हैं जी ये ममता ने कही ये बात, या ये आकृति, one point to a particular concern of all of us here. You know, we are wiser by 1.5 years into pandemic, and we are on the threshold of wave 3. How can parents ensure our kids get the best of both worlds? अभी भी ऑनलाइन ही है, अभी भी सब स्टेट्स में कंफ्यूजन है कि प्राइमरी खोला जाए, सीनियर खोला जाए, कुछ खुले हैं, कुछ बंद हो गए, बहुत कंफ्यूजन है। एंड येट वी आर होपिंग, दैट्स व्हाई वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ टुडे चूजिंग द राइट स्कूल। वी आर नॉट सेइंग कि पैंडेमिक है तो जी तकिया लेके सो जाओ। तो क्वेश्चन ये है जी, फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस, एंड वी ऑल हैव अ वन लाइनर हियर, I'd start with Akriti, and the question is that how can parents ensure that our kids get the best of both worlds? That is online education from a good school, the right school, and home environment. Akriti, first you, please.
Yes, sure. I think like the way you said, the first thought that comes to your mind, please just say that. So the first thought when you're asking this question was that parents need to remember that human beings in general, and especially children, are very resilient. I feel like our children are doing so well. Everybody is making an effort. Schools are doing a fabulous job. Parents are doing a fabulous job, and children are happy. So let's remove the stress factor and remove the cloud and look clearly that they are coping really well. So just continue to do what you're doing without the stress. That's it.
So continue. Let's continue doing what we're doing, is what Akriti says. Do minimize, dissipate on stress, and the teachers are doing a great job, the parents, and so are the kids. Let's just continue keeping the verve up. Mamta, yes, please. What is your take?
So I think I'm just going to elaborate a little bit on what Akriti said, that we have shown great resilience. We are all doing phenomenal job. What I would say to parents is that I think it's time to take some very well-informed and responsible decisions. From a school's perspective, I think bringing our children safely back into school is the topmost priority for us, right? And we are absolutely committed. And I think I can say this on behalf of all schools that, to make sure that it's all well prepared. We are following the health and safety guidelines, but we also need parents to support us. We want parents to understand that we have to learn to live with this new normal, right? So be very well informed, support the school, do not fan the fire of anxiety. And I think if the school shows the commitment that they are well prepared, then please trust the school. Always ask questions, right? Social distancing will be a challenge because schools were not designed, the spaces were not designed like this, right? So I would say, trust your school, just make sure that they're doing all that needs to be done, and let's bring our kids back to school safely.
Very well
Children
said.
need to be in schools.
Very well said, Mamta. Absolutely. Children need to be in school. Like we are overwhelming, good, almost 60% of the parents want. So here, what you're saying is, very importantly, let's sign it, like Aprajita said, hum ek team hai, the parents and the teacher community with the child in the center. Mamta ने भी यही बात कही है कि हमको एक सामंजस्य, एक टीम वर्क के तौर पे बच्चे को सेंटर पे रख के, we have to support the school has to support the parents, we all work towards one goal. जी अपराजिता, आप बताएं कि ये जो ऑनलाइन और ऑफलाइन जो एजुकेशन चल रही है और यही चलेगी, इसमें आपके कुछ, what is your take on that? How do we make the best of it?
देखिए, कंसिडरिंग थर्ड वेव जो बिल्कुल कई स्टेट्स में ऑलरेडी हिट कर चुकी है, आप देख रहे हैं डेटाज आप लोगों के पास ऑलरेडी है। छत्तीसगढ़ में 150 स्टूडेंट्स को हुआ है, इस तरह से महाराष्ट्र, हरियाणा, जहां जहां स्कूल्स ओपन हुए हैं, हम लोग वहां पे बच्चों के इन्फेक्शन का रेट देख रहे हैं। तो कंसिडरिंग इन सभी सिचुएशन को लेकर, और इनफैक्ट वी ऑल हैव सीन दी सिचुएशन जो सेकेंड वेव में हम सब लोगों ने देखी। स्पेशली आप लोगों को दिल्ली का भी कंडीशन पता है, ऑक्सीजन सप्लाई नहीं था, बहुत बहुत बुरी हालत थी, एवरीबडी वाज इन स्ट्रेस। तो बेटर है, मैं ये कहूंगी, मैं भी चाहती हूँ मेरे बच्चे का स्कूल खुले, मुझे भी पता है वो आईसाइट कितना वीक हो रहा है, बच्चा घर में बैठकर वेट गेन कर रहा है, ये सारी चीजें हो रही है, बीइंग अ पेरेंट आल्सो। बट स्टिल जब सेकेंड वेव के समय का ध्यान आता है ना, उस टाइम ऐसे लगता है कि नहीं, आई कांट टेक चांस, आई एम सॉरी। मैं सिर्फ स्कूल्स को ये बोलूंगी कि यस, ऑल द पेरेंट्स आर विद यू, ऑफ कोर्स वो भी चाहते हैं वो बच्चों को स्कूल भेजें, उनसे ज्यादा कोई नहीं है आज की डेट में चाहता होगा स्कूल खुले, बट वी नीड टू थिंक प्रैक्टिकली और पॉसिबल वेज देखते हुए। अभी फिलहाल जैसा है, ऑनलाइन जितना भी क्लासेस दिया जा रहा है दीजिए, क्योंकि आप भी जानते हैं एक एक बच्चे की लाइफ इम्पोर्टेंट है, और आप भी नहीं चाहेंगे कि आपके स्कूल में बच्चा आए और उसका फिर कोरोना का केस आए और बच्चे को कुछ हो जाए। मुझे नहीं लगता बीइंग मतलब स्कूल मैनेजमेंट की तरफ से, टीचर की तरफ से, वो एज ए पेरेंट भी सोचेंगे तो वो भी चाहेंगे कि बच्चों की लाइफ के साथ किसी भी तरीके से रिस्क नहीं लिया जाए। और ये ऐसा नहीं है कि स्कूल के ऊपर पेरेंट ब्लेम दे रहा है, कोरोना है वो तो आपको कैसे मर्जी हो सकता है ना, आप एसिम्प्टोमेटिक भी हो सकते हो। तो इन सारे पॉइंट्स को ध्यान में रखते हुए, वेदर स्कूल इज टेकिंग ऑल द प्रिकॉशन, हाइजीन ले रहा है, मेंटेन कर रहा है, सब कुछ कर रहा है, बट आपको नहीं पता जब बच्चा ट्रेवल कर रहा है कहाँ से कौन सी चीज लेके जा रहा है, क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं हो सकता आप बिल्कुल अपना 2x2 के रूम में बिल्कुल पैक करके बच्चे को स्कूल ड्रॉप करें और एकदम उठा के वहां से ले, दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल। वी नीड टू थिंक प्रैक्टिकली। तो फिलहाल मैं कहूँगी जैसा चल रहा है फिलहाल चलने देते हैं, अनटिल अनलेस एटलीस्ट हम बच्चों को सेव करके रखें, बिकॉज दे आर द फ्यूचर ऑफ आवर नेशन। हमारे घर नेशन पे भी है, हमारे घर के, हमारी लाइफ में हमारे बच्चे। तभी आज हम कॉन्शियस पेरेंट्स की बात करें, हम स्कूल चूज करने की बात करें, यहाँ पे स्कूल्स की सेंसिटिविटी और पेरेंट्स की अवेयरनेस दोनों को ही काम करना चाहिए, क्योंकि वी कैन नॉट टेक सिंगल चांस जहां पर हमारा बच्चा इफेक्ट हो।
Absolutely, absolutely, Aprajita. I think very well put, and exactly what even the other panelists said. Let us trust.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, sure.
I'm sorry. Let me add one more thing. अभी हम लोगों ने ट्विटर पे एक पोल किया था, क्योंकि दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट भी चाह रही थी कि स्कूल खोले या नहीं खोले, तो दे आस्क्ड सम मेल्स कि उन्होंने अपना एक मेल आईडी शेयर करके उन्होंने किया था, बट व्हाट वी डिड, हमने ट्विटर पे पोल कर लिया था, जो मैंने आपके साथ शेयर नहीं किया, बट 80% पेरेंट्स ने बोला है कि वो नहीं भेजना चाहते। एंड यू विल बी सरप्राइज, पेरेंट्स यहाँ तक कि ये कह रहे हैं कि 1 साल हम बच्चे को घर पे कर लेंगे, बट हम स्कूल नहीं भेजेंगे। लास्ट एक चीज और मैं ऐड करना चाहूंगी, आपके सर्वे में होम स्कूलिंग का परसेंटेज लेस देन 1% आया है, बट अगर यही सिनेरियो रहा, क्योंकि वी आर गेटिंग कॉल्स फ्रॉम द पेरेंट्स कि होम स्कूलिंग के क्या ऑप्शंस हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र में और कई स्टेट्स में इसको लीगलाइज कर दिया गया है, और मुझे पता चला है कि ऑल इंडिया लेवल पे लीगलाइज हो चुका है। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सिचुएशन को देखते हुए बहुत सारे लोग, बहुत सारे पेरेंट्स होम स्कूलिंग की तरफ से आगे फ्यूचर में शिफ्ट कर जाए। Thank you.
Bilkul. Of course, there is a lot of things coming up, and exactly what you're talking about. There are a lot of options available.
Yeah.
For example, a very simple thing being that a lot of parents are not actually aware. A lot of people are not. They इसी एक fear syndrome होता है, और fear syndrome ये है कि हमारे बच्चे को कुछ हो जाएगा. So they do not know the kind of model that, let's say, a particular country is following. We are not talking of the West. We are talking of what is it that makes, like you said, safe education. Safe education is what we are all aspiring for. And I think while we do this, we are almost at the end of our talk. There is what we say, the last question. And of course, there are some couple of questions here I've got. I'm quickly going to go over them. Would anybody like to answer this question? Is that how would you define inclusivity in the classroom of the right school, the correct school? Inclusivity, inclusive education. How would you define inclusive education in the classroom of the right school? Somebody has sent.
Okay, I think I'll take this question.
Sure,
So
please.
I don't think so I can define it, but I'll try and make an attempt to kind of like demystify it, right? So inclusivity means when we appreciate and we acknowledge children's differences and say that not all children are the same. So in our technical language, we use the word either inclusivity or schools that offer differentiation, that they appreciate diversity, they appreciate differences in learning ability, right? So for that, if a school has a program for children who are either very able, which is what we call gifted and talented, or children who are having some learning disabilities. So we have school has a program for special education needs, right? That's an inclusive school, a school that acknowledges differences.
Very nice.
And if a school has a curriculum for that, if a school has teachers that are trained for that, it's an inclusive school, and schools should be inclusive.
Can I just add something?
Child has a right to this
Akriti.
education.
Yes, Akriti, sure. Absolutely correct. Inclusive is having people who are different. There are differences within that. There is equality. Yes, Akriti.
So I would just like to elaborate on this and clarify, because in my practice, I get a lot of students and parents who do actually need the special education needs department in school. And I find that a lot of schools have opened and developed these departments, but inclusivity does not mean taking a child and putting them in the SEN department, and then that's not inclusivity. It's about the SEN department giving that extra support to bring them then back to the classroom. Because I find a lot of schools, you know, they're trending on this. They're saying, oh, we have a SEN department. It's not about that. It's about understanding inclusivity, like Mamta said, and helping the children with that extra support to come back, because you don't want to just sideline them and then those feelings of being pushed into a department, which is, you know, all that stigma attached to it. So I think that you need to be mindful of that too.
Yeah. So just rephrasing, inclusivity means doing these things within a classroom setting, within a mainstream classroom. So if you have a class of 30, 40, then the school needs to offer these services within a classroom system and not label and box a child. Of course, there are certain services that can only happen out of the classroom.
Absolutely.
But that should also be only for a certain amount of time. And the aim should be that as soon as possible,
Yes.
let's bring this child back into the mainstream classroom.
Right.
That's a truly inclusive school.
Absolutely. To
A school that
assimilate
doesn't
them.
box and a school doesn't label.
Yes, assimilate the kids into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Be
Absolutely.
it differences in terms of learning difficulties or the socioeconomics and so on, the differences that we have within the society. There is another question, guys, and I'll go over it. I think this is for Aprajita. उनका point वही है जो आपने कहा था कि ये हमारी जो tug of war चलती है ना, बच्चा बीच में पेरेंट्स एक तरफ खिंचाई और टीचर्स और स्कूल एक तरफ, तो उनका यही क्वेश्चन है कि इसकी खिंचाई ना हो, क्या तरीके हैं कि पेरेंट्स और टीचर्स या पेरेंट्स एंड स्कूल एस्टैब्लिशमेंट इन दोनों का किस तरह से एक कंफर्ट सेम्बलेंस हो, मतलब इनके इनपुट्स किस तरह से दोनों को बच्चों को बेनिफिट मिले एंड नॉट लाइक टग ऑफ वॉर, एक दूसरे के खिलाफ ना होके साथ कैसे हम लोग काम कर सकते हैं.
बहुत इजी है. एक स्कूल्स ने ना एक बैरिकेड लगा रखा है पेरेंट्स और उसमें कम्युनिटी आपस में बातचीत में. ये तो हम पैंडेमिक में बात कर रहे हैं. नाउ किड्स आर हैविंग ऑल द फोन नंबर्स ऑफ टीचर्स. प्रिंसिपल के तो नहीं है, बट यस दे कैन नाउ इट इज दे कैन इंटरेक्ट विद टीचर्स डेली वेजेस पे अपना व्हाट्सएप के थ्रू. बट पहले अगर आप देखेंगे एक बैरिकेड लगा होता था, टीचर फोन नंबर नहीं देगी, प्रिंसिपल से तो मिलना दूभर है. हमें ये भी डाउट होता है कि प्रिंसिपल है या नहीं है. आपने कुछ नहीं करना है, यू जस्ट आप उस बैरिकेड को हटा दीजिए, हो जाएगा. इंटरेक्टिव सेशंस रखिए. आपने पहले भी कहा कि पेरेंट्स के साथ कितने इंटरेक्टिव सेशंस रखे जाते हैं. एक पीटीएम पे बुलाया जाता है जो 3 महीने 6 महीने में एक बार होती है. वो तो 2-2 मिनट की इंटरेक्शन होती है कि आपका बच्चा ऐसा कर रहा है वैसा कर रहा है, वो चले जाते. नो, दैट इज नॉट इंटरेक्टिव सेशन. इंटरेक्टिव सेशन ये कि कभी आप पेरेंट्स को बुलाइए, पूछिए कि आप स्कूल में क्या इंप्रूवमेंट चाहते हैं. दिस इज द सिंपल मैं बोलूंगी फॉर्मूला कि आप बैरिकेड हटा दीजिए एंड ट्रस्ट मी, आपके पेरेंट्स ही आपके स्कूल को प्रमोट करने के लिए, यू डोंट नीड टू स्पेंड योर लैक्स ऑफ मनी इन मार्केटिंग. ट्रस्ट मी, पेरेंट्स ही इतना वो करेंगे आपके स्कूल का मार्केटिंग, तो आप बिलीव नहीं करेंगे कि क्योंकि यहाँ पे पेरेंट्स अगर किसी और पेरेंट को बताएंगे कि ये पर्टिकुलर स्कूल इज गुड, तो ऑब्वियसली दूसरा पेरेंट उसकी बातों पे ज्यादा विश्वास करेंगे रादर गोइंग एंड सीइंग योर स्कूल फिजिकली और आपकी वेबसाइट को चेक करना.
बिल्कुल, बहुत अच्छी बात आपने कहा. Mamta, we are running out of time. We have 2 minutes more. I'll take the last question. It's exactly 2 minutes short of our time up. So the last, you absolutely well put, and I think the last question here actually is a very, very serious one, and that is ki marks versus holistic development. आज भी सब पेरेंट्स, ये क्वेश्चन मैं उसको शॉर्ट फॉर्म में करके बता रही हूँ आपको, तो इसमें आज भी ये इनको समस्या है कि नंबर तो आने चाहिए. तो एज अ पैनलिस्ट आपका ये 1 लाइनर क्या होगा सबके लिए कि क्यों, आई एम आस्किंग यू एंड वेरी टेक्निकल बिकॉज आई टेल यू वेरी फ्रैंकली, व्हेन पेरेंट्स से कि 12वीं में नंबर देखते हैं, भाई 99 आए क्या आपके, किसने देखा है कि को करिकुलर क्या है, आप लोग क्या बोलेंगे? Are these parents aware? Do they really know? Are they saying the correct thing? If not, then what is the correct thing? Mamta, Akriti, Aprajita, whoever wants to.
I'll begin saying
Sure.
I do not blame the parents, okay? Because what happens after 12th? Why do they want the marks? Because college mein admission chahiye. Those parents who are sending their children abroad is a different story, but most of us, our kids study in India. So if you want to change that, the admission system in the higher college and all the whole system needs to change for the parents to, they are doing it out of desperation because they want their child to be somewhere. And then that puts pressure on the child and comes up, it leads to psychological problems. So I think that's my take on this.
Mamta, Aprajita, कुछ कहेंगे आप?
या मैं ये कहूंगी, आई थिंक सिंपल लाइन में रीडिजाइन द एजुकेशन सिस्टम. रोट लर्निंग सिस्टम बना हुआ है, मैकेले थ्योरी है, इसलिए हम मार्क्स के पीछे भागे जा रहे हैं. कंपटीशन हमने डाल दिया. होलिस्टिक हर पेरेंट चाहता है और आपके डेटा में भी आया है कि इंडियन कल्चर पे वो जाना चाहता है. हम प्रॉब्लम हमारे इंडियंस के साथ क्या हो रही है, हम इंडियन कल्चर सिखाना चाहते हैं बच्चों को, बट वेस्टर्न की तरफ मुंह देखकर ये समझ नहीं आता. तो इंडियन अगर कल्चर अडॉप्ट करना है तो जस्ट सिंपल है, रीडिजाइन द एजुकेशन आपका जो हमारा जो सिस्टम है उसको रीडिजाइन करना।
Right. Mamta, the last line for you.
Okay, very quickly. So very well said, from both the panelists. I will only say that there's a lot of effort that is going into redesigning the education system. There is a new national education policy. I think the schools need to honestly embrace it and implement it, right? I'm very proud to say that the school I'm representing today, how much we are treating that national education policy as a Bible, right? And there are schools, all schools have to look at it, right? So we need to reimagine, we need to redesign, but at the same time, we also have to align ourselves to how the world is changing, right?
Absolutely.
And we need to align to that change as well. And that, I think it requires a change of mindset
Yes.
for all of us, all the three stakeholders, the parent, the child, and the teacher.
Absolutely.
Change mindset.
Absolutely, Mamta. Change one's mindset, keep ourselves updated. We do have the new educational policy in place, and let the schools make it more and more applied. Last but not the least is, we do have our kids as unique. All of us agree on that.
Yes.
All kids are not the 99%ers. There are some academic oriented, sports oriented, creative. आप अपने बच्चे को जाने, प्राइमरी स्कूल से समझने की कोशिश कीजिए कि आपका बच्चा वो 99% लाएगा, या फिर आप उस बच्चे को co-curriculars, जो भी उसके creative ideas हैं. So the child is the center of our universe, and that is exactly the reason why we today in our discussion, we have brought forth a very, very holistic, a very mindful way to choose school. And what a beautiful way to put it all together, sum it all together, that let us put our best foot forward, have faith in the educational institution, have faith in parenting, let us work as a team. Over to you, Aprajita, Alankrita, where is Alankrita? I think we are almost done with our talk. And I would like Alankrita to sum it up for us, please.
Definitely. So thank you so much, Dr. Madhumati, perfectly timed and a wonderful moderation. And as always, it's beautiful to have you on the Fairgate platform. I would also like to thank all the panelists for giving their time, plus their wonderful perspectives, Ms. Aprajita Gautam, Ms. Akriti Hussain, and Ms. Mamta Kapoor. I believe this was a very enriching discussion, and thanks for gracing us with your presence. I believe through this panel discussion, we have with us some answers today, and we have better clarity than probably we had yesterday. So thanks to each one of you, and stay connected with the Fairgaze ecosystem for such engagements, such panel discussions, webinars. There are a lot of things coming up. So you can also get the updates website at www.fairgaze.com or through our social media platforms or Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for all the time, for all the amazing insights. Thanks to each one of you. Have an amazing evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best, all of you. Great having you all over here. See you again soon.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.